I'm somewhat happy with the performance. I got to go back and look at the video. Um, you know, I think just maybe a lot to pick on for the first fight, having a guy who's experienced as Cunningham. But I'm just proud of myself as far as going out there with such a savvy, fast guy that's, he's been in there with world champs, he's a world champ himself, and then trying to go out there and score shots on him.
What were you able to do to help make this fight go the distance?
I think I made, well, I don't know what I did to make it go the distance. Just obviously getting hit with 10-ounce gloves is not as bad as 4-ounce gloves. So, the shots I took, nothing ever really felt like an MMA fight as far as wobbling me. But obviously, shots landed to score points. And so I think just my entrances are too much explode, jump in and grab people, which work great for MMA. I see now that that's harder to pull off in boxing, because even when you land the one shot, I clinch afterwards and look for knees and body work and takedowns. So I'm happy that if I could come in and catch Cunningham with a shot, when I go back to MMA, that conversion will do me well. So I think as far as building up my MMA striking, this an A+. As far as trying to do the things that I've been trying to train myself to do, those more boxing, I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't come behind triple jabs and double jabs. I kind of did the old, just, 1-2, and then come behind that, which, for some boxers that works, like, like a John Ruiz type, but I didn't make it work as well.
Great. All right. First media question coming from Donna Corby.
Frank, first off, I want to say I'm writing for an MMA outlet, and I want to say that was an incredible showing for the MMA community. Probably the best performance in a crossover fight that we have seen. Talk to me about what's next for you. Are you going to go back to Bellator? Are you going to go back to mixed martial arts? And when's the time frame for that?
Well, I have BKFC that I'm trying to get a fight in also now. And then as far as MMA, I'm not with Bellator anymore. Okay. So, I'm open to adventures there. One of my other trainers, Carl Prince, over in Manchester, we're talking about possibly doing some things over there. So just keeping my ear to the ground. Obviously, first round management, hopefully will find me something. Before I retire, I'm fighting on the same card as my daughter, which she's doing MMA. So MMA is definitely still in the future. Being a part of this Triller experience is unreal. I mean, I've been a part of some big cards in the UFC, and I have to say this might have been the most epic thing I've ever been a part of. So, let's see if Triller, I could do another one with them. And maybe even if they, hell, they can add another rope at the bottom and we could do an MMA fight.
You've been hit by some of the hardest hitters with those little 4-ounce gloves in mixed martial arts. Fedor, pretty recently, Roy Nelson, Mark Hunt. The list is endless. Where does Steve Cunningham rank? Obviously, the gloves are different, but where does he rank in terms of the harder hitters you've faced?
Well, no, I mean, obviously getting hit with a 4-ounce glove compared to a 10, it's not a fair comparison. But as far as speed-wise, Cunningham was the fastest guy I've ever fought, where it was weird where I'm like, I'm used to being a pretty quick heavyweight. But still, some of the shots he was able to land from the outside and stuff, really, his head movement too. That's the one thing that I'm having the hardest thing converting over. In MMA, if we move our head the way that Cunningham moved, our feet are still there, so I can grab singles, doubles, and I can also, after throwing that first punch, if someone makes you slip that much, you can kick the leg. So many times tonight when Steve was slipping, you probably can see I'm looking down at his leg going, oh, there's a sweep, there's a chop, and I can't throw it. So that also made it kind of difficult.
All right, thank you. Next up is Jeremy York.
Finally good to talk to you there, Frank. I want to echo what he said as well. I think this is one of the better performances we've seen, not only in a crossover, but I think you held up well with a world-class boxer as Cunningham.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And that's really, honestly, that took a lot of pressure off me going into this fight. I wanted to represent mixed martial arts saying, hey, we're also very good at boxing. Obviously, it was a pretty heavy task to sit there and go, I'm going to beat a boxer in my very first fight that's a world champion who's been in with world champions in a boxing match. But honestly, and I had said this going into it, and I stand true to my words, if I had lost a 6-round decision but boxed well, that was preferable to catching Steve in the first 30 seconds. Look, I'm 275 pounds. If I would have caught him with a shot and dropped him, I don't think I'd have proved anything. Besides the fact, like, well, you had a 70-pound weight advantage and you hit hard. That wouldn't do well for the MMA community. I feel like going out there and going all 6 rounds and showing proficiency was a better statement.
All right, next we have Gabriel Gonzalez.
Hey, Frank. First off, just to echo everyone else, great performance and great showing for the MMA community. I was wondering, can you talk to us what it was like from your standpoint waiting for it? Because over here on watching the broadcast, there was a lot of music. I mean, are you over there hearing Doja Cat and everybody in the locker room, or what was it like for you just waiting for your fight after the previous one?
It was strange, you know. I mean, it was like I said, this is probably the most epic thing I've ever been a part of, as far as just how complex the whole apparatus was. But you know, Peter and Melissa Henricks did a phenomenal job doing the most that they could. Trying, I mean, you have production crews here, you have fight crew here, and we're all trying to intermingle. It was very interesting, though. Again, like, you know, I'm in the back, sitting there lined up, ready to walk out. People are playing music videos, or, you know, I felt like something out of a movie set, to be honest with you. Like, I'm like, this isn't real. This is something that, you know, if someone was trying to make a movie about a fight career, this is how they would depict it. And if I was watching, I'd be like, ah, that's not realistic at all. And lo and behold, that's what we're a part of right now.
And finally, I have Boxing Social.
Ames here for Boxing Social in association with Bedford. Frank, you're very open about wanting challenges and loving challenges in life. Was your entry into boxing the challenge you expected it to be? And also, could I ask you, you weighed in 70 pounds heavier than your opponent. Do you think maybe if you came in a little bit lighter, it might have affected your performance in a better sense?
I mean, no. I feel that right now with the lifting I'm doing, my last body fat check, I was like 17% body fat. So what's best for me is to do this. And I know that might sound like a defeatist mindset. I didn't want to be good at boxing at the sacrifice of my MMA stand-up. I'm doing this to be a component of so when I fight as an MMA fighter, I'm a better MMA fighter with my hands. I've kind of done that with my jiu-jitsu. When I do jiu-jitsu matches, you don't see me use a lot of different guards that a lot of other guys will use, because you can't use them in an MMA fight. I want to stick to things that I can cross over. Is that always going to put me in a deficit? Yeah. You know, being 275 with my strength is an asset in an MMA fight. Every time I would have clinched Cunningham in an MMA fight, my size would have been an advantage. So for me to strip down and get to 245 so that I was a faster boxer, that would have been unrealistic, because then I'm not going to be able to take that with me into my MMA career. And ultimately, again, I'm like a decathlete, and I went with the sprinters. I'm not going to take away from my other events to make me a sprinting specialist, because let's face it, I'll never be the best boxer in the world. I look to be one of the most complete mixed martial artists, and that's what I was trying to prove tonight. And that's what my lifelong goal is.
Frank, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.